Welcome back to Minecraft Dungeons. In my review I said I would like to do a playthrough for this game, but some of the dungeons, like the secret one I believe is called Creepy Crypt, takes around an hour, and I don't really want to be editing through and uploading footage that's like an hour long, especially when I can just use my experience, put it into the form of tips, and help you guys out in the process. But with this video, it's not a direct how to get unique loot. You're not going to be able to go do something specific and just pick up a ton of loot. Like, it's not a mod so that you can spawn in 250 chests or anything crazy like that. It's more of a general sort of idea as to how to increase your chances to get unique loot. And the reason I say increase your chances is because the game is based on RNG. But there are a few ways you can actually get loot in the game. And we're going to start off with play on the highest difficulty that you can without it being too difficult. And I don't mean the world difficulty in terms of default, adventure or apocalypse. I mean there are 6 tiers within each world difficulty. So if you're playing on default, it will go default 1 through 6. And then that carries on over to adventure, and I'm not entirely sure about apocalypse. But if you are, we'll base this video on Creepy Crypts, which is the first secret mission. If you are looking at default 6, let's say your power is 30 and default 6 is recommended 27. You should, I'd say possibly you're only going to have the options to play default 5 or default 6 because anything lower is far too easy. So what I recommend for you to do is try it on default 6, like push it to the highest difficulty, although chances are you could have something go wrong, you'll die, you'll lose all your lives, but there are no worries about doing that, because once you lose all your lives, it will travel you back to camp and you will not lose any of the loot you have obtained during that run. You literally just have to start the run all over again. And this was the footage you're seeing in the background. This was when I believe I was level 9 or something like that. And we were playing this Creepy Crypt mission on default 4. So it was a little bit above what was balanced for us. But we were playing co-op. There were 3 of us. So it's a little bit easier because if you die 3 times in solo, that's it. You literally just die straight away. Whereas in co-op, you go down, you can be revived. So you can, if you're smart enough, if your team is like fully prepared for that mission, you can get the revive and you can save your team lives. But in this run on default 4, I managed to pick up 2 uniques, and they were literally within the span of about 4 minutes of gameplay. It was incredibly lucky. There is no YouTuber RNG or anything. I didn't get boosted RNG drops because I'm a YouTuber, nothing like that. It was just pure luck. But always try and push yourself to the highest difficulty. If it's too hard, just knock it down 1 or 2. That doesn't matter, but the higher the difficulty, the better the rewards are going to be, because when you get to Apocalypse, you start getting more like loot drops in general, and then you have a bigger chance as well to getting uniques. And another thing is to always make sure you are playing the secret missions. I've heard there are like 5 in the game, but I've only discovered 1. And this Creepy Crypt lasts a lot longer than your standard dungeon. The typical dungeon lasts around 20 minutes, and that's with full exploration. Whereas our very first run on default 4 running through Creepy Crypt took us an hour. There is a lot more to explore, there's a lot more secrets, a lot more chests to open. So the secret missions are probably going to be your better bet than a standard dungeon to pick up loot. And then another thing is emeralds. You will be awarded emeralds as you're playing through. There'll be like these little pots you smash, and they will drop emeralds. You can actually get enchantments that will give you a chance of getting more emeralds. And then what you do with those emeralds, and put it this way, a standard, like typical dungeon will get us around 3, maybe 4, possibly even 500 emeralds. This one run of Creepy Crypts that took us an hour granted us, we managed to get about 1,200 emeralds. So there was a hell of a lot more in this secret mission. And what you do with your emeralds is you take them back to camp. Later on in the game, you can go to a trader and he will offer you artifacts to purchase with the emeralds. But if not, from the very beginning of the game, you will have a blacksmith, and you can use your emeralds to basically trade for a weapon. And this blacksmith can give you some high-leveled unique items. So make sure you're spending your emeralds. There is no reason really to save them unless you want to go through the game and then have a mass spending spree at the end. But you can pick up some goodies off this blacksmith. So I'd recommend at least dipping into a few trades and just testing out your luck and see what you can get hold of. Another thing to help out with the emeralds is look around your camp, and do this every couple of missions or so, because there will be new chests that spawn. These are called lobby chests, and each one of them will contain 50 emeralds. We logged into the game, we found 2 chests, that's 100 emeralds. We literally did 2 dungeons, checked again, there were another 2. So as well as getting emeralds from doing the dungeons, we're getting them from the camp as well. And we had 200 spawn into the camp within the matter of about an hour and a half, 2 hours. And then next up is to explore everywhere in each of the dungeons you enter, as you never know which area will contain a chest. If you press M on PC and you look at your actual map, it will tell you in the bottom left how many secrets there are, how many chests there are. And although a lot of the maps have these huge empty areas, like there could be an entirely new corridor you can explore and there'll be nothing. Not a single mob, not a single chest, absolutely zero down that entire section, but always make sure you're exploring because you never know. And then you have the bosses in the game, which will not, I don't think they're in every single dungeon, but there are a few dungeons that contain bosses, and once you take those down, you're not guaranteed anything, because I've taken down a couple had no loot, taken down a couple had standard, sort of like common loot, and then taken down a couple where I've had a unique item, let's say the Venom Glaive. I got that from a boss drop, and that was actually really cool to use until I found something more powerful. And then there is also, if you have good luck, let's just say you do Creepy Crypt, you have good luck doing that dungeon, you get yourself a unique or two, or maybe even more, then I would recommend grinding through that same thing again if you're looking to get powered up and you want better unique items, as they are procedurally generated. So every time you enter a dungeon after completion, it will change the layout completely. Alongside that, I believe the chest and the secret spawns are fairly consistent, although I've not done like a lot of testing with that, but they are definitely procedurally generated, so each time you enter a new dungeon, or enter a dungeon again, the layout would have completely changed. So push your difficulty, do all of the secret missions, fully explore the levels, find all the chests and everything, take down the bosses, look around your camp for extra emeralds in the lobby chests, and use the blacksmith to your advantage because he can drop uniques as well. And that's all the tips I've got. I've played through default difficulty entirely. I'm now working on adventure, then I will be moving up to apocalypse. So if there are different ways, you can expect a follow-up video, but if not, that's pretty much all there is to it off the top of my head. So there might be another thing or two you could do to increase your chances. And if you do know any other ways, then let everyone know in the comments. But that's going to do it for this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching.